by the community to go to a camp called Dev Boot Camp, which is a intensive computer programming language course in River North. And so I've been working there on basically big data, harvesting data from all these different sources and learning how to read statistics properly, because they constantly give us statistics that aren't quite right. And even with this, it's sort of an experiment. So if you guys see something that's wrong or not quite, there, just let me know, because it's still something that I'm learning and working on myself. And I'm also working on branding. So I'm working right now with the Planning Coalition. And within the Planning Coalition is a thing called the Southeast Side Block Club Alliance. And that encompasses neighborhoods from, I think, about Bronzeville all the way up over to Roseland. So that's kind of another branding project that I'll be working on. There was one that was done for vintage logos, but I'm doing more updated ones for the whole Southeast Side, and hopefully we'll make it back to the side as well. So here we go.
Favor. We need to speak it to the mic.
Oh, like that?
Yeah.
So this is a question that a lot of people ask. I know I'm from Orlando originally. My mom was like, why would you do this? And so this is sort of like a study that people ask, kind of what's going on in the community. So this will give you a lay of the land in terms of, what things look like in Chicago and what things look like, especially on the Southeast side. So the big question is, why are all the young folks coming to Chicago and why do y'all look like that? And I can actually answer both questions. So, one more time, it's okay. This is kind of what we grew up seeing, right? This is like our heyday. I still get fuzzy feelings when I see this stuff on TV. Like, all right, it's like the Cosby Show and Zoo, and I'm a little young, so I was a bit of a 90s kid too. And this is kind of what I thought city life was like. This is what I saw. But I lived someplace far away. And so I had always had this weird yearning, and I didn't understand it until I was much older for what it was. And all these people here lived in environments that looked like something else. Like this was the environment. My husband was telling me about the green limousine. I have no clue. I thought it was really cool. And the subways and like all this fun going on in the city, and stoop kids and all of this sort of thing in really dense urban environments. And this is where I was looking like that. I didn't see none of that action. I was like, all right, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I was very, very lonely from pretty much middle school up to about high school. I went to a private school for elementary, and then I was transferred into a public school for grammar and high school, which was it was messed up. It was terrible. And I was imported into the more urban environment of Orlando, but I didn't have necessarily the social skills to navigate that. And so what I learned was a little bit later on when I went to college is that what I was really looking for was community. And this was happening to me, not only to me, but to a lot of other people around my age and around the suburbs. Next slide. You lost the mouse. Oh, okay. So this is kind of what's going on with us right now. And I'm saying us very loosely, Gen Y-ish, somewhere between the ages of 35 on down. And my sister actually just moved up last year for some of the same reasons, I believe. So urban neighborhoods provide a sense that you're part of something greater than yourself, connectivity and access to free and affordable resources, which are not readily available in a lot of suburbs, especially down south. There aren't a lot of transit, buses, none of that. I think they put the first bus stop in by my house a mile away from Dixie when I graduated from high school in 2003. So yeah, neighborhoods are walkable. There's shopping near residential corridors, which is kind of about that vibe that we were talking about earlier, and reliable public transit. It's especially appealing to African Americans. This was a study done by the Urban Land Institute about a year ago. It's especially appealing to African American youth and members of Generation Y. Single people about 60%, renters 60%, and college graduates 60% of the people surveyed by by the Urban Land Institute believe in community, believe in being inclusive areas. And so this is why you're starting to see a lot of people kind of coming in yet. We haven't really said, there have been some people who have said that there's urban renewal and there's all of this, but there's been some studies that go the opposite direction as well. So we're not totally sure about what's going on, but what we do know is people under the age of 35 are coming into the city for sure, and they're buying and they want to stay. Next. So this is the percentage of people indicating a preference for urban attributes. So things like mix of homes, mix of income, shorter, smaller homes, shorter commute, smaller homes. So some people would actually, under the age of 35, prefer to have a shorter commute, even if it costs them square footage in their homes. So even be like, okay, you know, we have to live in a matchbox, but I can walk to the bus stop in 5 minutes. Fine, I'll pay $200 for that. It's fine. And the other thing was, in the next 5 years, this is the expected growth for urban environments, dense urban environments, for these same reasons, mix of incomes, mix of homes, and public transit. So these are the community attributes that everybody wants to see, and these kind of indicate density. And then these other ones are the ones for people who, in the next 5 years, will move to places that look like that. So this one I did a little while ago. I went and did like a neighborhood map maybe about 2 years ago about like all the cool things about South Shore. Because people were just yammering on, oh, South Shore's so terrible, why'd you move down there? You couldn't move anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I mean, why would I do that? Because I could go coffee. I could take a stroll in the park. I could go on an architectural tour, which is what this chamber has been doing for a little while now. We could people watch and picnic in a hospitality garden. There's all these cool things that I don't have access to in other neighborhoods.
And pretty soon we'll be making dinner rights.
There you go. So yeah, another thing that's really attractive for, you know, urban youth. And so these are all the things that South Shore has, and these are all those things that we talked about on the slide before that young folks were looking for in terms of urban attributes. And the cool thing about South Shore is not only do you have all those attributes, but you also have a bit of a suburban environment, right? So you can get a 5-bedroom house 2 blocks away from a bus stop. You know, I mean, that's a thing. And people my age, we actually bought a house. I was able to afford it. So I literally walked out of my house to a bus stop, or to a metro, or to a whatever, and can get downtown in 20 or 30 minutes. And people are always really surprised when they get down here because the whole branding of South Shore has been, oh, you live far south side. Yeah, because it's just that damn far, right? But it's way far. No, it's not. It's 20 minutes away. And people have this idea that anything after Hyde Park is really, really far. And so most of my Northside friends, like coming from Wicker Park, like, man, I don't know, that's kind of moving, I don't know. Like, it's okay. You know, once they get on the bus, they get on the train, like, man, that wasn't that bad. The other thing that we need to know about South Shore right now is that, like Mary talked about, we have 2 gardens of 73rd and Coles, which is the We Mean Green Peace Gardens. And there's one at 73rd and Ridgeland that actually feeds a vegan store. So there's a vegan store at 73rd and Ridgeland that gets their food from the garden that they put together now. There's a new one next to me on 75th and Clyde, right here. She has a vegan store, and they just broke ground in their garden 2 months ago. We have 3 vegan restaurants and a new forest. So this is sort of like the profile that our neighborhood is starting to take on. You know, it's not like, you know, handcuffs, cops, and robbers that we see on TV. This is actually what's going on here. All right. So South Shore is great, and I love it, and I think there's a lot of things that I'm doing and would do for South Shore right now. But what we're missing right now is a vital Main Street. And so what we need to do is look at some of the perceptions and the data that we have right now in terms of what South Shore can do. Yeah. So this is some of the stuff LaShawn ran over earlier today. But the other comparable grocer was Jewel, in the area, as you know. The store often has wilted cookies. Like, I've literally walked into Dominicks and I'm like, all right, just kidding. I'll do it another day. It was never really updated, which is a big deal for me, and I don't know how much it is for everyone else, but a lot of times when things get old, they look bad. Yeah. And so interior design is actually really, really important to how people shop, when they shop, and what they buy, actually, when they come out of there, and it's important to the people standing outside of that place, right? So if that Dominicks was clean, because nobody hangs out around Starbucks, right? You don't see a whole lot of dudes like, posted outside of Starbucks, because why would they do that? It doesn't look like the kind of place they should be. But Dominicks, for whatever reason, just decided, well, we'll let it go, and that's why you got that really bad traffic all the time, and the behavior too, because it's not like the kids are bad, these are my peers, they're my brothers, but their behavior is reflective of the environment of the restaurant. And so we have to be very careful and very diligent about forcing people to update and to put money back into the stores that we buy from. Customer service, of course, is mediocre. Oh, you're good. And that was pretty much it. But just some of the things about Dominicks that I didn't really like. So this is the map that we're looking at right now. You've got this Jewel Osco, Save-A-Lot. I think I'm missing Save-A-Lot down the street. And that Aldi, that's there. Dollar Tree keeps trying to classify itself with Google as a food source, and I got an issue with that. And of course, this Dominicks that we had will no longer be there. So this whole land area, basically from 79th Street all the way over, will be empty. Nothing. Okay. So this is some of the stuff that Mary Mitchell wrote an article about not too long ago about, her shopping Dominicks and all of this. This is kind of the comments that we got, right? Like this ridiculous proposal stuff. Jeffrey Plaza's horrible. This person clearly doesn't live here. Anyone who thinks otherwise is aiming too high. Like this area should get approved for us. Like, well, who told you that? Did you live here? What is going on? And they're saying like, you're nothing, and then more likely the risk of opening a business. And people think that we don't make this right. This is what's out there. And this one was just like, okay, all right, well, we're done. And you can, sure. So one of the comments says, the middle one says, anyone who thinks otherwise, is talking about anyone who thinks that you should get a high quality store. Anyone who thinks otherwise is aiming too high and has their heads in the clouds. This area should get approved for less. The middle class of Jackson Park, Highlands, Chatham, etc. aren't large enough to draw out a huge mass to drown out the huge masses of lower class people pulling the entire area down.
Wow.
Yes. Who did she write that?
So,
That's
no, Mary Mitchell did not write this. These are comments on Mary Mitchell's article. Mary did a really great article. It was the simplest thing you've ever seen, right? Like, hey, I went to Dominicks. I wish we had some other cool stuff, but hey, hopefully we'll see what happens. Done. 250 words max. This is what it's soon. And this happens a lot sometimes. And Chicago Tribune and Red Eye, people have been telling us that we're nothing for a very long time. And so basically what I started to do is started to catalog these comments and make sort of something, and try to help people understand that this isn't that. Some people want to be right about their things, and people are actually hedging their bets against us. So they're leaning on this commentary about, oh, South Shore is this, you should move, we should do this, because they don't live here, or they made the decision not to be here. So next slide. I mean, what's the deal, right? Like, why is there so much beef with South Shore? And two of the things that we have right now is silence and perception. So one of the things that we don't do is we don't demand better from our leaders and our developers. People kind of come here, and Val and I talk about this a lot. They kind of go up and we cry about this. You're like, oh, snap. Did anybody talk to this person about rolling this 54th currency exchange? No. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to keep running by it, pretend like nothing's wrong. The other problem is perception. We have internalized and publicized our lack of self-worth, just as a neighborhood, as a community, as a people, however you want to look at that. Sometimes I even hear people who live here saying the same things that other folks who don't live here say. You have to watch what you say, watch what you're thinking about yourself, and about the place that you live. So yeah, South Shore really does have a healthy middle class. Seriously. Right. But that's been the predominant one that people, like a lot of developers like to say, like, well, you guys don't really have the demographics for it. Like, look, we got all kinds of people here. And everybody here can actually actually afford to go to places, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So someone asked about crimes. Shootings down 22% in the last year. Murders down 15% in the last year. And it's actually the lowest murder rate since 1965. I was not here in the 80s or the 90s, but my husband tells me this is paradise compared to 1984. Yeah, and if you want, you can definitely download that report once you get to the website. It'll be there as well. So this is a different story, things on what they've seen. So this is actually some of the stuff that Tiana was talking about. This is this report. This is the median income. So what you'll see a lot of times in the census is you'll see this number right here being exploded. Like this is all we have. Nobody here makes more than $35,000. But actually the overall concentrated buying power in this little tiny place is about $210 million per square mile. Like that's just money that's just out here. And the South Shore trade area has nearly 3 times as many middle and income households per square mile than the Cook County average. This is the 3rd highest concentration of middle and upper income households in Chicago's South Side. So, yeah. This is just a 3-mile radius of what retailers at Jeffrey Plaza would have access to. So this is kind of what, from my understanding, developers look at is a 3-mile radius. So it's not just South Shore, it's Woodlawn, it's Hyde Park, it's all these surrounding communities. And basically, the population for these 3 square miles is about 254,000. The traffic count for vehicles per day just on that little strip is about 35,000. And I'd venture to say more because a lot of people cut out of Jeffrey during rush hour because we have 2 rush hours. Because we have a lot of shift people here. So you have a rush hour between 1 and 3 p.m. and another rush hour between 5 and 7 p.m. And what a lot of people will do will cut off of 71st into the back way Paxton to get over. So you're missing that traffic count as well. And the average income for this 3-mile radius is about $53,000, not 22. Just really quickly, oh, you're good. Just really quickly, this is kind of what things happen that we don't really, in terms of data and developers, they don't really know about our communities, which is what Magic Johnson was so cool about because he understood these nuances. So household income, they say this, your household income is like XYZ amount of money. But what they're not taking into account is I have a building, I bought a building, and my mother lives in Unit A, and I live in Unit B. And the addresses are partitioned, but we contribute to the same pot. So they're saying, your household income is one thing, your household income is another thing, but really together, combined, we're probably making, 70, 80, 90 grand a year. And then the other thing is family incomes, combine the incomes from 2 people who are blood and marriage related. So in my house, my sister, myself, and my husband live there. They count my husband and I as one income. They don't count my sister. That's something totally different. The other thing is side hustles. Really. I don't tell anything either, It's like there are ways that we go about getting money, whether it's just shoveling snow or building I build websites, some people do, whatever you do, and that income goes unreported as well. So I'll fly through this stuff. Of course, the wrong retailer compared to our perception, it isn't that the retailer is bad, it's the way that they keep up their environments that's bad. That's why Walmart went out of their way. They spent, I think, $324 million to rebrand because they knew better, right? Save-A-Lot did something similar not too long ago. And I haven't really heard anything from Ruthless on that particularly, but this is kind of what the issue is if you get too many of them all the time. It's not that these are bad, these are great. I go to Save-A-Lot a lot when things are looking kind of shaky. But the problem is if you've only got Save-A-Lot, so if you only have Walmarts, then that's all you're going to keep getting. We got another Dollar Tree, what a good point, because they kind of thought, well, this looks about right. And the other thing here is, of course, things like that bother me. In its context, I kind of understand it, but this is kind of how people perceive us once they get down past the United Street. You can't see it over here.
Where did that slide come from?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can read the t-shirt. So on the t-shirt on the far left side, it says, South Side, you wouldn't last a day down here.
Who was you in that sentence?
So I'm guessing that the person here is survival mode you need to be in to be on the south side.
Oh.
So they're talking to this other person like, you wouldn't last a day in the south side. Like, man, I don't know about that. And the north side says, we have everything except parking. Like, hey. And I mean, I see that people wear these shirts like this, right? They say like all these terrible things about the south side, but whatever. So the right retailer though can improve your perception. Streck and Van Til is a new one that LaShawn introduced me to not too long ago. Whole Foods is something that I do when we are balling. That's a new one. And Trader Joe's is my go-to. I can go to this place and get to the cash register and not be, squeezing every bone in my body together at the cash register, hoping, that everything works out. So I can go to Trader Joe's. I can feed my family wholesome, preservative-free meals quickly for I think maybe $200 would serve us for almost a month, the two of us. I could literally go to Trader Joe's for $200 if we got freezer foods. So this is community-oriented retailers, right? There's 3 different types of retailers that I classified. One is appreciating retailers. So these are retailers like kind of basically, as they go on, they actually bring value back to the neighborhood in terms of perception, value, and money spent. So that's Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Treasure Island, Mariano's, and Streck and Van Til's. The next one. Pressure cooker retailers. Nice, but need pressure to keep quality stores, right? So they'll do all right if somebody goes and they're not going to go like, hey, can I talk to your manager because it was real bad out here. They'll do something, but it's not intrinsic to their brand and it isn't intrinsic to the way that they operate. So you have to apply a lot of pressure on these guys to get them to do right. And considering that it takes a lot for us to get going, that may be one of those things that we think about. And the last one, of course, is depreciating realtors. Can deteriorate complete and uncontrollably over time. So Walmart, Food Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot has actually been very good to us in that sense. They haven't really let it go too badly. Walmart, I am from the land of Walmarts. Don't even get me started. That can go badly very quickly. So, and this is pretty much what it is. I mean, Harbor Court alone generated over 1,000 jobs for its high-quality stores. Not to mention the additional stores that were attracted to the area because of that, and that generated jobs as well. And not that saying that we need to have Harbor Court, but it was, yeah. I tried to stay out of that fight. So basically, why can't Jackery Plaza be our Harbor Court?
Beer and everything, right.
And it's not So that's it. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I blew through that.
That was great.
It was very good.
Ava, St. Clair.
Yes.
Everybody get ready.
And another big round of applause. So you see why we need to all learn together before we start throwing out ideas. Not that we don't, we all have really great ideas, but it's great that we all have a base of knowledge and a place where we can start our conversations, an informed place where we can start our conversations. And if that presentation did not show that this is a tale of 2 cities here in Chicago, I do not know what does. And that's why it's important not only that we have a task force working on the problem right in front of us, but we have a task force working on the entire perception of South Shore, both internally and externally. So again, really appreciate that, Ava. So I'm going to pass it over to Val now to talk about the task force.
How you doing?
Hi, Val.
Now, one of the things I did want Ava to talk about, how many people in the rooms up read the Bloomberg article in May?
What are
Can you repeat that? Bloomberg article in May. How many people in the rooms saw that? Well, yes, about South Shore. This is one of the reasons why we're having this meeting, so that people can understand. And one of the reasons why we do not have the things that we should have is because of articles like that. If you haven't seen it, Ava probably read it 1,000 times, way more than I did. She could probably give you the highlights, and we can talk about it. I will say that they did interview me, and they never talked about any of the good things that I did. I wasn't even mentioned in the article. Anybody hear me? No. Free.
Can I mention something about that also?
Go ahead.
They they interviewed 45 people. They took anything that you said that might not be positive, and they put it in. I called him after that article was written. I was very upset, and I said, you only gave a slanted view. That is not what you said this was about. It was about a view, an open view. Other than that, I don't give any views on it. It's an open view about South Shore, because he was coming from New York to do the paper. It turned out to be very negative, and he never returned any calls. But he came in here, he spent 2 months talking to everyone in the Highlands and in the community. He stopped people on the street, he took pictures. He used 2 pictures, and only people who might have said that there was an issue.
Right.
I mean, if you mention that issue in your 30-word conversation, he's going to take that issue.
Right.
And it turned out very negative for South Shore.
Right. I asked him what neighborhood did he live in. He told me he lived in the suburbs, so I shut my mouth and left. But I'm going to let Ava kind of go over some of that because she can really, she's read it way more than I have, and also emailed them to see what they do with retraction. And from there, that's why this is very important that we have people that are very interested in how do we change our image in South Shore. That's what this meeting is about. This is why it's hard for us to get the things that we want to have. We have to change that image, and we cannot leave it up to the media because they're not giving us a just image at all. It's not balanced at all. So, Ava, if you don't mind just
Can I
kind
just
of
comment, if a reporter said, there's an assignment here, so Bloomberg is in New York, they send the guy down, what was the objective purpose of motive?
So one thing, I didn't bring it here because I know it was kind of explosive, but, yeah, okay. No, it was really explosive, and I didn't post it to Facebook because I don't want it to make it around circulation. So if you could go and individually Google it, it'll come up. But if you don't know about Bloomberg, Bloomberg is like an international investment deal. It's like the hugest deal ever, right? I mean, think about real estate investments, cranes, Bloomberg, okay? This guy, like Tiana said, came out of nowhere, asked us all these random questions about stuff that we're thinking is going to be good. They literally, the heat map, they basically wrote 3 articles, you know this. One was written May 22nd, 2013. This first one was written as an overall view of Chicago's crime, of which they said we contributed immensely to. They said South Shore basically, this is the reason, South Shore is the reason why Chicago stinks. Oh, like it's all your crime. We lose billions of dollars a year. South Shore. That was Article 1. Article 2, written May 23rd, 2013, was about South Shore particularly, and how basically all this stuff is going on. They only took pictures of like the 2 people that got shot that month and had them stretched out on things. Article number 3, September 22nd, I think, the 20th or so of 2013, said Mexican drug cartels are coming in, and what do you know? All the gangs from South Shore are muling them out. That's what they said. And the same article from May 23rd, 2012, is a heat map on the left-hand side that says where all the crime is. And now, if you look at the heat map, South Shore is about mid-grade, right? Because before in terms of crime, is Austin, far west side, far south side, right? And then on the better end, of course, is all these north side neighborhoods. This heat map specifically said South Shore is doing okay.